Greetings comic book fans and welcome to the Dude Cave. I'm Jason and you are watching my weekly comic book reviews for the second week of June 2016. Without further ado, let's get into these reviews. So we're going to kick the video off as always with rapid fire roundup. For those of you that are new here, what this is these are the books that did not make my comics of the week. I briefly go through them, try and keep to 30 seconds to a minute for each book. Doesn't always work out that way. But I try to keep to that length for each book, and I just say what I liked, what I disliked, and give it a score out of 5 stars. So let's get going. We've got 11 books in this part of the video this week, so let's see how quick we can do this. First up we have Birthright, issue number 16. This was once again a brilliant book. I really enjoyed this. With all the fallout as Samael revealed himself to be the grandfather of Mikey and Brennan. So we've got all the fallout from that and kind of his explanation, their dad's reaction to that. His dad is this Marge from Tremolos, that, you know, Mikey wasn't so random the way that he was the chosen one. So that's all really cool. We meet a new Marge as well, which I really liked, a new player who has a completely different way of dealing with things, so that's really good. The book's getting really intriguing and I'm loving the developments, and at the end we have a real kind of shocking turn of events that just have me with bated breath waiting for the next issue. This remains to be a really excellent book, and I give Birthright issue number 16 5 stars out of 5. Next up we have Invisible Republic issue number 10. I didn't enjoy this one so much. It's not so much it's a bad book, it's just that the story doesn't seem to be going anywhere. You know, I thought this whole journal of Maya's in the past, there'd be all these revelations and all this stuff, but so far with all the stuff from the past that we've seen, there hasn't really been anything that feels kind of really groundbreaking or a big secret that they would have wanted to keep. So now you're kind of wondering, why did everybody want this journal so badly? And like, because the stuff in the past, they just seem to be escaping one thing to the next, and that seems to be the story. Even the fallout with the one character, I think it was Nico, her name was, even that fallout didn't seem to be as, you know, I can't understand at the moment why Maya and Nico hate each other so much in the present. I do enjoy the present stuff with Cougar Bab, the reporter who found the journal. I feel his stuff's really strong, and like I say, this isn't a bad book and it's drawn really well. It's just, I just feel as yet we haven't really been revealed why everybody's after this journal, because nothing really groundbreaking has been revealed from it. So I'm going to give Invisible Republic issue number 10 3 stars out of 5. So our final Image book of the week, it is Renato Jones, The 1%, issue number 2. This was, once again, was brilliant. Kyle Andrews, he does the whole book. He colours it, he draws it, he inks it, he writes it. He does it all. I think they have somebody on lettering, but apart from the letters, I think he does everything else in the book. The story is basically this orphan took over the life of Renato Jones and was trained by the butler to be this weapon to take out the 1%, these rich people that think they're above the law and just live real bad lives, because like they don't care who they hurt, they think they're above everything, and because there's no conscience, there's nothing, they're above everything, you know, and they control everything. So he's posing as one of the 1%, as Renato Jones, this rich kid, but he really is in fact this vigilante called the Freelancer, who's going around killing them. But the way he's doing it is he's getting close to them as a rich guy. It's kind of like the Punisher, but if Punisher was Bruce Wayne, if Bruce Wayne instead of being Batman and being in the shadows, if he used the Bruce Wayne bit to kind of get him in before taking out the villains. I really like the book. I really like the character and the way that he gets close to the people. We introduced to a new character this year called Bliss, who's a friend that I really like of his. I think she's going to be an interesting character to add to the book, because she gives another perspective on what's happening, so I think that's really cool. This issue, he's kind of taking out these people that had these really decadent orgies, and there's like some really twisted, disturbed stuff that's off the menu, and kind of he has to win their trust first, and then once he's won their trust, they kind of give him the bigger stuff, and I'm telling you, they opened the door, I felt so sick to my stomach. It was really disturbed what was going on in that room, and you know, it's one of those times where you're down with the hero kicking some ass and killing some bad guys, because the stuff in that room was just, I've never had such a reaction reading a comic before. Which, like, I don't not make it sound like it's a bad book or it was a bad thing, but it was a story mechanism that really got the reaction it wanted to get, and you kind of then are like with Renato in that moment and want to see him take these bad guys out. I'm interested in his relationship with his butler, and kind of I'm hoping that at some point we're going to learn more about him and why he's made the decisions he's made. But I'm really loving this book, really good. The art as well. I'm trying to find a page that isn't too spoilery. But it's definitely not for kids, this book, as there was some really graphic stuff in here. But yeah, it remains a really, really good read, and I give Renato Jones the 1% issue number 2, 5 stars out of 5. So next up we have All New X-Men issue number 10. This continues the Apocalypse War story. Evan, our kid Apocalypse, has ended up in ancient Egypt with Beast. And Evan has met up with his the version he was cloned from, the original Apocalypse, as a child, and he's not what you'd expect. He's a really nice kid, and Evan's kind of stuck then, because all this time he's been trying to say, well, if I'm good and I lead a good life and I do good deeds, I might not become Apocalypse. Yeah, here he's seeing the original Apocalypse and how a nicer kid he is, how so well adjusted and so just spot on, yet this guy becomes Apocalypse, and it's kind of like, what kind of twisted path does his life take? And so he's now kind of questioning everything. Maybe it's just preordained, maybe it's destiny that we can't escape, that I'm going to become Apocalypse. And so there's some really interesting stuff going on there with Evan that I really enjoyed. I mean, for me, that was the high point of the whole book. The stuff with Beast, I like the old guy that heals Beast. It kind of stops them from killing him. I liked him. I thought he was a really interesting character, and there was some good dialogue from him. But in the main, Beast is just kind of like a plot device, really, in this. He doesn't really get to do much other than be tortured or healed. And he's just there to kind of try and get coax a reaction from Evan. But yeah, I enjoyed this. I thought it was a good read, and I'm going to give All New X-Men issue number 10 4 stars out of 5. We then have Deadpool and the Mercs for Money issue number 5. This is the final issue of this miniseries, though it is going to relaunch as an ongoing, so we've got that to look forward to, and it definitely ends on the strongest issue. The first couple of issues kind of felt like they were spreading the story out, but the last few issues, this book's really come into its own. So we learn more about the Recorder. We have all of his origin story, which was really cool, and plus we get kind of some fun and hijinks that you get from Deadpool, and some comedy, but then there's also some seriousness, as kind of like we learn so much more about the Recorder, and I really enjoyed this. I thought it was a really good end. The art as well I enjoyed. It's not for everyone, the art, but I think it worked for a Deadpool book. And there's this particular one page where we're going through the Recorder's origin and how he came to know all of time, that I really liked as well. So yeah, this was really good, and I'm going to give Deadpool and the Mercs Money issue number 5 stars out of 5. So next up we were going over to Star Wars, A Galaxy Far Far Away, and we have Darth Vader issue number 21. This issue sees the return of Dr. Alpha to the book, which is brilliant because I love her character, as she's reunited with the droid, but not in a happy way. So I liked her return to the book. I like how they're writing Vader. We get no inner monologue. It's just this big dark presence, intimidating presence as he's trying to find Silo. I liked that, and I really enjoyed where this book is heading. It was just a really fun read, really good read. I loved the art by Salvatore Larocca. There's the one page here with the Star Destroyer, which is just gorgeous. And I was wondering, like, I know LaRocca would have penciled and inked the Star Destroyer, but where they have all the outer space and they have those beautiful colours for outer space, I wonder, would the artist say to the ink colorist, look, this is what I want for this bit, or would that be the colorist to say, yeah, I can make this outer space look really nice? I would love to know how that works, because that's got to be the colorist who's added that colours in, because that's colours. The inker, the artist who does the inking in this issue, because they're in a separate inker name, so I'm gathering Salvador Larocca pencils and inks the book. he wouldn't be adding colours in, so that's the colourist's job. So I would love to know how that process works. But yeah, I enjoyed this, thought it was a good read, and I give Star Wars Darth Vader issue number 21 4 stars out of 5. We then have Star Wars Poe Dameron issue number 3. This was alright. I'm liking the art, but the story, it's inoffensive, but it's a fairly standard story. I like that they made Poe Dameron strong, and that he, while you think that he's kind of been outfucked by Agent Terrax, he's actually a step ahead of him, which I really liked, so that was really cool, and I do like how Poe's written in this. Other than that, it was a good read. It was inoffensive, but it wasn't a kind of book that's going to blow your socks off, but it was a fun read, and I'm going to give Star Wars Poe Dameron issue number 3 3 stars out of 5. We then have our final Marvel book of the week. It is, well, of this bit anyway. It is Vision, issue number 8. This series has just been excellent, and it continues the excellence. With this, we're introduced to Vision's brother, which I didn't even know he'd got a brother. Like Ultron's got like 2 kids. The dude's a robot. He can't even procreate. There's people in the real world I know would love a baby and they can't have one. Yet Ultron, a robot's got 2. It's like a crazy world we live in. But anywho, that was really good. I love the style that Tom King writes these books with. You just have this sense of foreboding that something's going to happen here. So you go through the whole story, and it's really nice, and it's trying to lull you into this false sense of security, and then at the end it kind of pulls the rug from under you with this really great twist. I love how King does that with the writing on these books. Walter's art as well, I feel Walter's art on this book I feel has been really great. And all in all, I'm just really enjoying it. This remains one of the best books out there, and another really good issue. And I give Vision issue number 8 5 stars out of 5. Another good read. So moving over to Titan Comics, we have the 11th Doctor Year 2 issue number 10. Oh, that issue 10's out this week. So this issue, what I like is they've kind of trimmed down the TARDIS team. We now just got 3 people, and we're following 3 people, and that works, I think, a lot better than at the one point we had there was the Doctor and 5 other people in the TARDIS, and that was just too much. So the story feels a lot more streamlined, which works. We get a cameo from the War Doctor, which is always good. We get more revealed into the Doctor's plans and why he's been behaving in the way that he's been behaving, and that's really cool. The story, I'm still a bit muggled because the story's gone on so long, and it does seem to be a bit muggled and seem to be a bit far from where we started, but at least it feels like we'll kind of get back to where we started from, and we're going to get answers. So it feels like we're on the right track at last. So I thought this was a lot better, and I'd give this issue of Doctor Who 11th Doctor Adventures Year 2, I'd give it 4 stars out of 5. So our penultimate book, it is from Valiant. It is 4001 AD, Bloodshot number 1. This is a one-shot, kind of just revealing what Bloodshot's up to in 4001 AD. And as you would expect, Ray Garrettson is dead, but the nanites that make up Bloodshot remain. And so it's really interesting. We get their kind of origin story, and as we're reintroduced to them, and then they go off on their own kind of little mission. I thought this was really good. If you're a fan of Bloodshot and you're enjoying the Bloodshot Reborn book, this is worth picking up. It's written by Jeff Lemire, who writes that series as well. So it's kind of got that consistency to it, and so it feels like it's part of that. So that's really good. If you're enjoying 4001 AD, this is a nice little side story. I don't know if Bloodshot's going to come into it, because at the end, it says, rather than in the end, it says the beginning. So it kind of, I get the hope that means we're going to see Bloodshot as the series goes, as the 4001 AD mini-series goes on. But this was a nice little one-shot. I enjoyed it. I like the story. I like what they did with the character. All in all, yeah, it was good. I'd give it 4 stars out of 5. So our final book of the week is also from Valiant. It is the Ninjak issue number 16. The main story I really liked. I liked the whole espionage thing. I liked the whole thing of Ninjak having to beat people up to try and get answers to who's done this to him, who set him up, and why. So that was really cool. I also really liked the reveal, couple of good reveals at the end. So that was good. I didn't feel the backup so much, the last year's file thing at the back. I found it a bit confusing, and it just seemed random, and so maybe I need to go and read some of the last couple, and maybe it would make more sense. But it didn't end the book as strong as it had been. But overall, I'm enjoying this. The main story I'm really enjoying. I'm going to give Ninjak issue number 16 3 stars out of 5. So that is my rapid fire roundup. All that's left now to do is to do the comics of the week. What 5 books made my comics of the week? We're going to find out right now. So here we are with the comics of the week. 5 books every week I pick that the comics I enjoyed the most, or just thought were the best. So kicking things off with Marvel, it is Daredevil issue number 8. I feel this series, the last couple of issues, has really come into its own. It's like the creative team have really got a handle on the character now, and it's really, you're really getting to see it out. I love the minimalist kind of colouring the book has, how they only use certain tones. I think that's really cool. I liked it when they did that on Hawkeye, and this creative team are doing that as well. A different set of colours, but I like how they do that. It gives the book its own separate kind of feel, which I like. This issue, Matt goes undercover and he's playing poker, and you kind of wonder, well, he's blind, he can't see what's on the cards. And it's really clever how they work this, and how they work that he's really good at poker, and that the cards aren't so important, it's the people. And this guy that he's going against, this top guy, is a telepath, and how he wins is he reads people's minds to see what's on their card. So, but like Matt can't see the cards, so I thought that was really clever, and the story was just a real delight. It feels like a one and done story, but it says on the cover it kicks off, a whole new story starts now, Blind Man's Buff. So I don't know if it's going to carry on. Love the ending as well, nice cliffhanger to kind of bring you back next issue. But yeah, I enjoyed this. I thought this was a real treat. And so, because going into the book, I didn't really know what we was going to do after the Elektra stuff, and so I was really pleasantly surprised with the story. And it just really feels like the creative team are kind of coming into their own. So yeah, I make Daredevil issue number 8 one of my comics of the week. So next up, the next 4 books are all DC. Like that was it was a good week to be a DC fan. So we kick things off with the DC books with the Flash Rebirth number 1. This continues. If you've read DC Universe Rebirth, this carries on that story, as we have Barry, and we kind of reintroduced the character. As like he's at this crime scene where there's been this murder, but he's having these kind of strange visions. We then, you know, the art here, Di Giandomenico is on the art, which I don't think I'll be able to say that name twice. I remember the artist because they did X Factor, when they all knew X Factor, and it was an artist I didn't like straight away, but I grew to appreciate. And straight from this first issue, I'm loving this guy's art. I hope he's on this book ongoing. We then get the whole thing with Wally West and Barry remembering, and he remembers that something's been lost. So then he goes to meet up with Batman, and they're going to try and find out. You see the scene of them going their separate ways there, as Wally needs to kind of find out his way in the world. And then we kind of join, you know, with Batman as Barry and Batman try to kind of decipher what's going on. Why have they forgotten so much? Why have they lost so much? I loved this. Where it's setting up, it sets up where we're going with the Flash. If you were turned off by the New 52 and haven't read a Flash book since then, this is a nice place to start. I think you need to have read DC Universe Rebirth to really get the most out of this. But this is a really great continuation, a great reboot point for the Flash, and has me excited about where we're going to go. And if this is a sample of what we're going to get, I'm going to be a very happy Flash fan. So yeah, I make the Flash Rebirth number 1 one of my comics of the week. So next up we have Wonder Woman Rebirth issue number 1, and very much like the Flash one, this kind of sets up where she's going and kind of what she's lost, as she kind of comes to the realization that somebody's been tampering with her history. That like there's all these different, like the first page, like the different ways she came to be, and I really liked, you know, that kind of introduction to Wonder Woman, in that she doesn't know like a history. There are so many kind of conflicting memories she's got. I love the new outfit we get, if I can find the page. I love the new outfit. I thought that was really cool. I love the art all over in this book. I'm trying to get the name of the artist. You can never find it when you need it. Oh, there's 2 artists on the book. It says, oh well, there are 2 artists. We have Matthew Clark, who just does pencils, and then Sean Parsons inks is part of the book. and then Liam Sharp does the second half of the book. So yeah, and then we've got 2 colorists as well. One colorist for the first half of the book, one colorist for the second half. It works though, because the second half of the book is kind of her going off to Olympus, and the gods are no longer there. I really like it. It sets this whole thing up, this mystery of what's happened and why so much been stolen from Wonder Woman, why she can't remember everything. I really enjoyed this. I thought it was a really great setup for the series. Really got me excited. If I wasn't already going to pick up this book, I would definitely be adding it to my pull list now. Thought it was a great introduction and setting things right for Wonder Woman. So yeah, I'm really excited about that, and I make Wonder Woman Rebirth issue number 1 one of my comics of the week. So next up we've got like our first issues. We have Action Comics issue number 957, which I love. We've gone back to the original numbering. That is awesome. I know kind of DC probably have got one eye on that, like, yeah, we're going to get to that mythical 1000, and that we can do a big book and do like make a lot of money from it by doing it this way. So it's probably a more of a cynical game plan by DC. But as a comic book fan, I love books to have this kind of numbering. So, you know, as a fan, I'm happy, even if their motives for doing it aren't totally the artistic side of things. It's still, in the end result, is I get something that I'm happy with. So I kind of can't grumble too much. This issue was really good. Basically, the New 52 Superman is dead. He died. But the world does not know he's dead. They just think he's missing. So Lex Luthor announces to the world that Superman is dead, and that he's going to be the new Guardian of Metropolis. And he's got a fancy new suit of armor, and he's got Superman's symbol on his chest. So he's taken over as the new Guardian of Metropolis. Meanwhile, Superman from the original, I don't know if original is the right word, but from the pre-New 52 continuity, is living in the world. He, after Convergence, his wife and their son came to live, and they've been living here for 10 years, and he's been taking out villains before they become villains, so that like Superman hasn't had to deal with all the stuff that he had to deal with on his Earth. And they've been living in secret, and you know, their son is developing superpowers, the powers like his dad, but they've pretty much stayed out of the spotlight. But now that Superman is dead and the world needs a new Superman, but they're still hiding because it's all about protecting the family. But then when Superman sees that this world's Lex Luthor is going to rise up to be this hero, this Guardian of Metropolis, he knows he's Lex Luthor, and he knows what Lex Luthor is to his core. And so he's like, no, this cannot be. So he decides, you know, no, enough is enough. I love this scene where he shaves, and he uses this mirror, and he shoots his heat vision into the mirror and kind of burns the beard off his face. I thought that was brilliant. And then we kind of get this reveal of him flying up and away. So we get this big confrontation. Luthor doesn't know who this guy is because Superman is dead. He saw him die. So, you know, and I was disappointed we didn't get the original costume and maybe change to a more modern costume later on. But like, there's a really nice confrontation that is initially, it is talking as Luthor is like, I can see you're older, more confident, more experienced Superman, but you're not Superman. Who are you? What are you? So Luthor's trying to kind of figure this out, and Superman is just like, no, this isn't happening. And kind of it gets physical, and they're kind of having this big fight, and then at the end, this other character on the cover that I don't want to spoil it, turns up. I really love this. I know it's not going to be for everyone, but I love it. I love what Dan Jurgens did with Superman Lois and Clark. I thought that was a brilliant series, and I'm glad that he's carrying it on here with this. It was really good idea to bring that writer across. The art here by Zilcher I thought was superb. Some really great moments, and I just absolutely love this. This was what I wanted in a Superman comic, and I enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to seeing where this is going to go. And I'd give Action Comics issue 957, make it one of my comics of the week. So our final comic of the week, and this was a bit of a shock for me, it is Detective Comics issue 934. I had my reservations about the writer for this series, and it's not that he's a bad writer, I've just found him to be an inconsistent writer. That I've never read a run from him where every issue was good, or the majority of the issues. It seems to be very up and down. So I was a bit nervous seeing him hound the book. And I think there's a good writer there. Maybe it's just he needs more experience, I don't know. but I was a bit nervous seeing this guy with one of the headline books, Detective Comics. But I love the team that we've got assembled here. We've got Batman, we've got Red Robin, we've got Clayface, we've got Spoiler, Batwoman, and the Orphan. So I love the team that they've got together here, and that more than anything kind of made me want to get the book. I'm glad I did. I really enjoyed this series. The basic premise of the story is the story starts off, you know, and I love how that font at the top of the page, and with Azrael, and he thinks it's Bruce Wayne, Batman, that takes him out. Then the real Batman turns up, and he knows somebody's coming, and that he needs to get a team together. The art here is superb, by the way. We then introduce to each of our characters one by one, and we see as Batman goes round, he reveals his secret identity to Batwoman, which is awesome, and a big moment of trust between the two characters that he reveals himself. We then kind of meet the other characters one by one. So first up we have Spoiler and Red Robin, which I really like that and their interaction. We then get the Orphan, we get to meet Orphan, and then we have this marvellous scene with Clayface, which makes him a really sympathetic figure that I just absolutely, I loved this scene. This was my favourite bit of the book, because it just shows this other side of Clayface that I just really loved. We then have the team come together as kind of, they get told what's going on. I just loved it. As a first issue, it sets the story up and just brings everything together nicely. And I just went away really happy. The art here is done by Eddie Barrows, which is an artist I've not heard of, but I absolutely love their art. This book was like their coming out party, because wow, brilliant art. I loved the book. I enjoyed it from beginning to end. I hope Tynion is going to keep it consistent, because he's got a good team here and he's got a good premise for a story, and I'm really interested in where we're going to go with this. He's made me care about the characters, and I like the interactions from the very first issue. So I'm really excited to see where this is going to go, and where this was one I was going to try out and then see, but I really love this first issue, so I think I'm going to keep this for a while. And yeah, Detective Comics issue number 934 is one of my comics of the week. So those are my books for this week. I will be back probably Friday with Comic Haul Weekly, where I share with the new books I picked up this week. I've got, I think it's 22 books I'm picking up this week, so it's a bit of a bigger week. I prefer it when it's like 10 to 16. That's kind of my sweet spot, because I find I can get through the books real easy. Like, I read all of these books this week. I'd finished them by, I only had one book to read this morning, and I could have, if I hadn't been watching football all day, I could have probably finished them all on the Sunday. So I really like that number, but this week's a bigger week. You can't control when they all come out. So yeah, we've got 22 books this week, so yeah, but I will still have another review video up, hopefully Monday or Tuesday next week. Thank you very much for watching my video. I really appreciate it. If you've enjoyed this bad boy, please give me those beautiful thumbs up so that I know you're enjoying this. As I've already said, I will be back on Friday with a haul video, and back this time next week with another review video. All it leaves me to say now is that I've been Jason, coming to you from the Dude Cave with my weekly comic book reviews. Keep reading, and bye for now.